Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at some of the Chinese stocks listed in the US. Before we begin, remember to take a second to give the video a like and subscribe as it will greatly help our channel. Without further ado, let's first start off with BABA or Alibaba. So as you can see, Alibaba did not hold this cloud support on Friday itself, and we actually dropped quite a bit on Friday. And you can clearly see that from a recent low of 78.01 to a recent high of 125.84, we are already at 23.6% after we broke down 38.2% on Friday itself. So this is not really a good sign. There's a very good chance for us to actually close this gap, and yet at the same time return back to $78 or even find some support at the $80 psychological support level in the event that we do not climb back up next week. That said, two resistance to watch would be 98 and also 107. Not forgetting on the way up, the cloud will act as a strong resistance as well. Let's move on to Tencent. So Tencent, as you can see, it's very bearish and it's likely for us to create a new low next week unless we can actually find a double bottom here and then bounce off from here. If not, there's a very high chance for us to start creating new lows next week. And for the resistance to watch will be $40 and also 43.80 as the two resistance for Tencent. Next up, we have NetEase. So NetEase, clearly you can see that we actually barely holding 61.8%. So if we break down next week, 88 and 84 would be the next two support in line. The resistance will be around 92 and $95. Not forgetting on the way up, the cloud will act as a resistance as well. Let's move on to NIO. So for NIO, you can see that it's holding this 61.8% pretty well for now at 1956. In the event that we break down this cloud support, 1805 and 1655 is our next two supports for NIO. That said, two resistance to clear will be 1988 and 2151. Moving on to JD.com, see that we are already breaking down 61.8% around $60, and we did not hold above the $60 psychological support. So in the event that we do continue to break down and drift further next week, 57, 56, and 55.03 would be the next two support in line. That said, resistance to clear will be $61 and $63 at this blue conversion line and the red baseline as well. Next up, we have Baidu. So Baidu is also barely holding 61.8%, and we are currently finding some good cloud support here. You can see that we bounce off these $130 psychological support levels here, and the next 50% Fibonacci is just below it at around 129.26. If we were to break down further, then 122.77 is our next support in line. That said, two resistance to watch would be 138 and 143. Let's move on to PDD or Pin Tua Tua. So Pin Tua Tua, you can see that it's really started to sell off and the cloud is not really acting as a good support. There is a likely chance for us to break the cloud support next week. In the event that we do not hold this 49.86, then 45.41 or even 39.91, or the $40 psychological support would be a good psychological support next week for PDD. Two resistance to clear will be 52 and 58. Let's move on to KWEB. So KWEB, a very similar situation. You can see that there was really some selling pressure and we are really breaking down the cloud support level. So if we break down 27.78 next week, then 26.23 or even 23.72 may be retested once again. Two resistance to watch will be 29.58 and 31.15 near the $30 psychological resistance. CWEB. For CWEB, we are really breaking down the cloud levels. You can see that we actually hold this cloud support pretty well for a while, but we started breaking down on Friday itself. So the next support will be the $50 psychological support, and also is 23.6% at around 49.96. In the event that both of them break down, then it's likely for us to see 40.40 to retest the recent low. That said, key resistance to watch will be this blue conversion line at around 58 and this red baseline at around 66. Lastly, we have FXI. So FXI is very similar to CWEB. You can see that in the event that we do not close above 30.50 next week, there's a likely chance for us to see 29.48 or even 27.83. Two resistance to clear will be 31 and 32.45. So as of now, it's very bearish on all the Chinese stocks. So hopefully buyers come back next week and there's no more negative sentiments. And if there's any changes, I'll give you guys an update. Thanks for stopping by. Till we meet again, appreciate the manipulation.